Hi, I'm Lissa. As you can see by the title of this video, and this is part one because there's a lot to say, it's going to be a difficult conversation to have. On my part, because I did suffer through severe narcissistic abuse or abuse in general. Narcissistic abuse, to me, I've always described it as the silent abuse because it's not talked about like it should. It's not talked about in general, really. I had to literally look up on YouTube narcissistic abuse. Didn't find much, but it's not out there as much as, physical abuse, which is, any abuse is horrible. I call it the silent abuse because there are no bruises externally, from my part anyway. I know that some abusers are just abusive physically, verbally, everything. The narc, as we call them in my life, was not physically abusive. And I feel like if he were, I would have been out of there sooner. I don't know. I feel like if you have I don't know. I can't explain why I stayed when there was no physical abuse for as long as I did, and we'll talk about that. But I did. So the first thing I want to talk about, and this is all from my perspective, my opinion. I am not a professional on this matter, except for that I lived it for 20 years. 20, guys. 17, but the last 3 is what it took me to realize what it was, realize what was happening to me, realize that I needed to get out, and 3 years to actually escape or leave for good. And we'll get to that maybe in part 2 because I'm going to start slow. A lot of people haven't heard of it, like I said, because you're not physically abused. There are no black eyes, there are no bruises, but inside, in your insides, you're literally destroyed. I and my daughter, who also suffered through this abuse, who's now an adult and married and still surviving it, dealing with it, working through her life, as am I. We are happier, obviously, without him and all of that, and we'll get to that in detail, but we're still trying to figure things out. It's a weird thing. Okay, so how can I explain narcissistic abuse? The reason why it's an abuser. It's an abuser. The reason why we say narcissistic abuse, because they are narcissists as well, as far as it's all about them. How do I look? Look at me all the time. The attention is on them, which is a narcissistic trait, right? And a lot of people do have that. But he's just an abuser that happens to be a narcissist, is how I can best describe it. I think that these people there's something wrong. Mental disorders of some sort, definitely insecurities, definitely something happened in their life, something switched, that they need so much attention and that they feed off of other people. I wrote some cards here just to start, the conversation. I apologize. That's one of my issues, surviving narcissistic abuse. I have a lot of ailments. And we'll get to that. So one of the first things is, in my circumstance, in my situation with this abuser, he was 18 years older than me. I was 25 when I met him, 26 when we were together. So, and I had a little girl already, and she was 2. So he knew that the father wasn't going to be involved, so he can have full control. I didn't know that then. He knew that I was, the life that I had lived, and we'll talk about that because I need to explain why I fell for it, why I believe I fell for it. I actually wrote a book about it, Freedom. I don't know if you could see it, but we'll talk about that too. But I am writing a book about this situation. And so the first thing is, he's a charmer. And I'm hoping this is not backwards in the camera. They're charmers. They are funny. They are the best people you'll ever meet. There's the reason why you fall in love with them, right? You're falling in love with a lie. They're funny and they're all of this, but they're really putting on the act of their lives to keep you, to get you. How else do we fall for them if they're really the insecure person that they are and all of these other issues they have? They wouldn't be attractive to any of us, right? So they become the person that they think you want, or the person that they think, oh, they want to be. But it is an act. And so charmer. Then one thing that worked with me and works with most people is that they brainwash you. Worked with me because I was so young and I had gone through so much in my life that it was easy to be brainwashed. And so brainwashing, which is part of the act. Manipulation, they manipulate you. You don't see it coming. I didn't see it coming, maybe because this person, 18 years older than me, although he'll say 17 years and 3/4, but whatever, 18 years older than me, had life experiences. He was a very important person in his job. He had some money. He actually got most of his money while with me, but that meant nothing. I helped him. But anyway, it just was easy for me to look up to him, because the manipulation and the brainwashing and the charming on his behalf to me was, now I see it as what it is, what it was, is like, oh my God, you should really read this book. It really wasn't him impressing me with him instead of me. I felt he was building me up and kind of helping me because I wasn't experienced and I wanted to have a good job and all that. And although I already had a job, which he took the credit for, which happens a lot too. I didn't have enough cards to write everything that happens here. And I don't want to get too long-winded with this, because most of you that have heard of this already know most of the things I'm going to talk about. But from my perspective, again, my experiences, I can talk freely because I lived it. He would buy me things. He would take me on shopping sprees, guys. Shopping sprees. Now I know it wasn't a generous thing at all. He could do it. It wasn't a big deal for him to do it. He was dressing me. He was dressing me for the part he wanted me to play in his act. So first of all, I'm going to say this. I don't know how emotional I'll get in this video. I'm guessing some things will surface. If you sit through this, I really just want to make it educational from as far as I can go with it, because again, I'm not a professional in this field and psychology and all of that stuff, but only with my life experiences. But I can say that the manipulation part was just, for me, it's so obvious to see it now. I have to talk about these things because, and if I get emotional, well, then that's that. But the anger is no longer there, except for when I feel guilt, which is another thing that the survivor, I shouldn't do that. I am a survivor. When you're a survivor, you have to heal of is guilt. So we're going to go and just keep going here and see what happens. But I'm not going to speak about it from an angry perspective because I'm free. The name of my book is Freedom. But anyway, not a plug. If you want it for free, I'll send it to you. Honestly, it's not. Anyway. So manipulation is a big, big, big deal. You've heard of most of these words. They are controlling, very controlling. You don't see it at first because who wants to be with a controlling person? But buying clothes for me was a controlling thing. Dressing me up for the part was a controlling thing. Telling me, say the words this way. Every time I would say something wrong, he would correct me. And I took it as, oh, cool. I'm learning how to speak better and like a teacher, like a mentor kind of, while shopping for me. So it was very, very attractive. I never had that. I was a young girl with a baby and I didn't, I was smart. I knew what I was. I knew what I liked. But a lot of things I just kind of thought that maybe I didn't know, maybe I'm more experienced than I thought because he's kind of shaping me. Didn't see it. They're liars, obviously. They're actors, they're liars. He started to lie and I would believe it. And even though I would see something, for some reason, the lie became the truth. I don't know how that happens, honestly, but I think it's because you want to believe it. You start to see things, start to see little red flags, and you just kind of say, no, he's not lying. No, it's real. It really did happen. It's really true. So lying is a big thing. I'm just kind of talking about it briefly, but we'll get into more details. Projection, when they project something on you that they're feeling. For example, and I think the next one, I'm going to put it over here, is, let me find it because it has a lot to do with projection. Projection, cheater. He was the biggest cheater I've ever, I don't know, I guess people do cheat a lot. I'm no angel, but he was my second real relationship and the last. I've been single for like 7 years since I left him. It's been 7 years, guys. Almost 7 years, 6 years, 6.5. And it's taken me so long to heal that I haven't been able to date. Don't want to, not yet anyway. And God will give me who is good for me because I have no idea what that is. What they project cheating. So when they're the cheaters, for example, they act like you're cheating. Now, this person wasn't like per se a jealous person, except for the age gap. I think at times, because I was so young and so attractive in his mind and sexy, as he called it, you know, he used me as a tool to show off. So in terms of cheating, even though he would buy me bikinis and buy me sexy clothing because I was eye candy, arm candy rather, and so that would kind of lift him up. I never understood that. I thought it was disrespectful. I thought that my husband should be my husband. We never married. We'll get to that. I thought that my partner would want to respect me, you know, respect my body, respect what I wore. And he just wanted to show it off. And at first I was like, oh, cool. You know, my other boyfriend was, my first and only boyfriend was jealous. He's not, except for like with cheating and stuff and projection. He would project things that he was feeling or doing. He would say, oh, you know, I'm older than you, 17 years, he would say. I'm older than you, you're gonna find someone younger. And I'm like, you're okay. He was the one who was cheating. And we'll get to that because that was a big, big deal in my life that affected me tremendously. They have lack of empathy. And the lack of empathy comes into play where, for example, when I was sick, and I hear this a lot from people that are gone through it, he would be sick. Well, that's part of projecting and kind of acting. I don't know. It's confusing. I don't even know what that was. When I was sick, he would be sick. So he couldn't take care of me because now I had to take care of him because now he's sick when I'm sick. Like, or I had my own apartment, but we lived together in both places. We were in both places all the time. So I would just say, you know, I'm not feeling well, I'm calling out sick. Oh, I don't feel like either. I'm going to call out sick too. And I'm like, no, I want to be alone. I need a break because I started to feel the pressure in our relationship. And then I'm like, he would be like, oh, we can be home together. And then he would be like, oh, can you make me this? Can you make me some soup? And I'm like, I'm sick. Like, I'm really sick. If I called out sick, I was really sick. And I have asthma and I have issues. And I'm like, why am I can't take care of you. I can't even breathe right now. So that happened a lot. He felt nothing. Didn't take care of me. Didn't need him to. I wanted to be alone. I said that. But wow, what a crazy thing. Anyway, moving on. Gaslighting. You've all heard about gaslighting. They make you feel like you're crazy. Gaslighting is a little tricky because, and I kind of feel like I've already touched on gaslighting in general, but it's when they treat you like you're crazy, or when they act like you did something wrong, when they treat you badly, you've done nothing. Not that they're supposed to discipline you, they're not your parent, first of all. That they're always trying to make you feel bad about yourself. I'll talk about it a little bit more, but later. But I just wanted to kind of go over the words. But that's a big one, gaslighting. When they're really trying to make you out like to be the liar. Puts down. He put me down a lot. Now, all of these things, you would say, wow, that relationship, yeah, get out. They happen slowly. It's like they know how much you can take, when you can take it, how much you can take at a time. It's like they know, because they don't want you to leave them, because they're so insecure. That can never happen. They're perfect. You know, they're narcissists. You know, who wouldn't want to be with this person who's grandiose that they have in their head they are. They need you to act like they are. They need you to feel the same way. So they would put you down and their friends down, or other people, just so they can look so grandiose. That's another word that's really popular in narcissism. Sorry, my dog. Mushka, can you sit down? Sit down, baby. I'm hoping she doesn't bark, because she always barks in my videos. I have a doll channel that's where she's always barking. I have too many videos on here, but I'm working on it. So put me down a lot. For example, you know what? A perfect example of putting me down. And one of his shopping sprees for me, because he loved me so much and wanted to buy me things, was, we were looking at a Victoria's Secret magazine, and I'm talking about when I was in my 20s. In the beginning, a year in, 2 years in, whatever, he used to buy me, like I said, bikinis and sexy clothes. And he went into the Victoria's Secret magazine, and we were looking at whatever. And I decided, I kind of want to have an opinion of what I want to wear. So I was like, because he kept picking everything out. You know, I didn't need to. He did it for me. And I happened to like what he got. So I didn't see it as controlling. So I picked something out. Do you know what he said to me? He said, no, you can't wear that. You have to have a really thin body for that outfit. You know, you have to be really skinny. You're not. And I remember that stuck with me. Now I see it. I mean, I'm out. But for years, that comment gave me an eating disorder. And do you know how much I weighed when he said that? Not that it matters what you weigh. Nobody should say something like that to you. But I only weighed like 120 pounds. 117 to 120 pounds maybe. I was a size 2. Size 2, 3. And yeah, he said that to me. I was too big for that outfit that I wanted, which was just shorts and a crop top. And I remember not saying anything because I valued his opinion. I don't know why. I really, it went deep. Things people say to you, and that's abuse, affect you so badly. You believe it because you think that this person is so amazing. How did I ever get him? That you start to believe what they think of you. And I was, you know, in my mind, I mean, now I'm in my 50s and I feel like I was a kid, you know, even though I wasn't a kid. I was 26, very inexperienced of things. Life I was experienced, but not in relationships, really. I don't know. I just kind of was like mature and wise, but at the same time really young, 26, you know, with a kid. I didn't know what to do with my life. And if you hear my story, you'll understand why that is. But I was so tiny. Like, what? I was like, what? What does that mean? He took that moment to make me feel so bad about myself, even though he was buying me bikinis. It didn't make sense. So that mind effed me. Forgive me for that terminology. I don't know. He mind screwed me with that one. And then little by little, he would throw out more like that. So put down was a big deal. He would say I had a gap. He would say I had a learning gap. Now, we're talking about 18 years age difference. So I'm guessing the gap was, in his mind, projection, right? It's all over the place, I know, but he's projecting the gap, the age gap he had with me, that, you know, I had a learning gap. I had a learning disability. I'm an executive on Wall Street. Like, what are you talking about? But yeah, I had a gap, and it made him feel good that he was the smartest man on the planet. That's what he used to tell our daughter. He's the smartest man on the planet. She had to repeat that all the time and say it to people. He made her say it to people. Insanity. Verbal abuse. Verbal abuse. Verbal abusers. They are verbal abusers. They're abusers in general. Why wouldn't they not verbal abuse you? Mushka, get down. Let me just get her down. I'm back. She couldn't get down from the bed. Yeah, so they are verbal abusers. They scream. They curse you out. They put you down. They gaslight you. They project everything in one sitting. Most of them, abusers are screamers. I guess all of them are, I don't know, but he was a screamer, like scream and curse and oh my God. So the way I can describe that kind of abuse is like, I don't know what God forbid, but I don't know what a bullet feels like or anything, but I feel like just something hitting your body over and over again, as if somebody were punching you. And yes, I have been abused physically too, not by him, but I have. So I know what it feels like. So I kind of, maybe I'll use that better because I know what that feels like. You feel like you're just getting pounded with no physical touching. The verbal abuse, and this is like with children, any kind of abuse. I feel so bad that kids get abused. I can't handle that one. But verbal abuse is just as bad as any abuse. Narcissistic or any kind of abuse that's not physical is a silent abuse. It's not shown. You smile. You look good all the time. They don't want to mark you. Physical abusers aside, these guys, they don't want to mark you, especially mine. I was too pretty in his head and too arm candy. Nothing could be shown on me. So no, that wasn't going to happen. But verbal abuse, if anybody looked at my insides, my stomach and the issues that I have, my gastro issues, internalizing that stress, the issues that I have, Barrett syndrome and everything that I have with the coughing and aside from asthma that I already had, is all internalizing crying and internalizing your insides wanting to scream, and you hold it in, and your stomach stressed and knots in your stomach, and oh my gosh, and the walking on eggshells, that's another popular term in narcissistic abuse or any kind of abuse, really. You're walking on eggshells because any little thing will trigger something. I know this is getting long, so I'm going to cut it out. But I do have one last card because this is what they are. We are not the victim. They are the victim. Everything we do wrong, which is nothing, by the way, makes them feel like a victim. Oh, you don't love me. He would say that all the time. You don't love me. You don't caress me. I could be like touching his hair or whatever, just holding his hand. In that very moment, he would say, you don't love me. You don't caress me. And as I'm caressing his hands, I'm like, what? Like, I mean, that's like insanity. That's insane shish. Sorry. It brings you, it takes you there. That really is intense. That's mind screwing. That you're actually like, what do I need to do to make him feel better? That's not enough. Or I am touching you. What are you talking about? Like, you get so confused. I'm going to stop it here. And that victim was the last card I have, because then I'm going to talk about the cards that represent the survivor, because that's what I'm going to call myself. I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment down below if you ever suffered from this, if you're curious, if you have questions, if you comment anything you want. Let me know what you think, and hit the notification bell because I will be posting new videos and you don't want to miss them. This is part 1. Thanks again for watching. Stay safe. God bless. Bye.